the consequences of putting Donald Trump back in the White House. We are not going to let him end programs like Head Start that provide free. Good morning, Chicago! When the president is rigging congressional maps to cheat, when he called a court and crafted a court to gut the Voting Rights Act, to silence our voice, when he incites distrust in our election infrastructure so that people won't vote, well, folks are sick and tired of being sick and tired. When the federal government rips people out of their car, out of their home, out of their church, when families are separated and a mother of 3 is shot and killed by an ICE agent in Minneapolis, people are sick and
Kamala Harris was right about everything. Russia is giving information to Iran. Russia is giving information to Iran about U.S. warships, aircraft, other assets in the region. U.S. intelligence knows this. Kamala Harris said that these dictators would eat Trump for breakfast or for lunch, whatever. And MAGA laughed at her, and MAGA acted like their God King is this tough businessman who can strike deals with anyone. And Trump has always said Putin is his, that they have a good relationship, they're buddies, acting like he knows how to control him. No, it's the other way around. Putin knows how to control Trump, and he always has. And when Trump was asked about the U.S., when he was asked about Russia giving information to Iran, his response was, "What a stupid question." What a stupid question. Are we great yet, MAGA? Is this America first? Acknowledging that someone who is supposed to be an ally of the president, right? They're supposedly have a good relationship according to Trump. Giving information to
And now, Donald Trump is telling us how he intends to use power if he is elected again. He has stated that one of the biggest threats America faces is, quote, the enemy from within. The enemy from within. But know where that language harkens back to. Understand, and let us be clear about what he is saying. He considers any American who doesn't support him or bend to his will to be an enemy to our country. Outrageous. And further, he says that as commander-in-chief, he would use our military to go after them. Honestly, let that sink in. I predicted a lot about what's happening right now. I'm not into saying I told you so, but we did see it coming. If Donald Trump were president, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv right now. And understand what that would mean, because Putin's agenda is not just about Ukraine. Understand why the European allies and our NATO allies are so thankful that you are no longer president, and that we understand the importance of the greatest military alliance the world has ever known, which is NATO, and what we have done to preserve the ability of Zelensky and the Ukrainians to fight for their independence. Otherwise, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv with his eyes on the rest of Europe, starting with Poland. And why don't you tell the 800,000 Polish Americans right here in Pennsylvania how quickly you would give up for the sake of favor and what you think is a friendship with what is known to be a dictator.
Kamala said Putin would eat Trump for lunch, and ate he did today. She said Putin would be sitting in Kiev right now if Trump were president. And if you paid close attention to the summit, short press conference, no questions, no real outcomes, just Trump saying it was productive. For whom? Putin? This was honestly the weirdest, shortest, most controlled summit I've ever seen. Behind closed doors, who knows what deals or promises or whatever were whispered. The optics, terrifying. Putin was calm, Trump was not. I cannot count how many times that man thanked President Putin. We just had a preview of what happens when Putin calls the shots on national television. The American people are okay with this? History is watching, and it's terrifying to see Kamala's warning play out like a prophecy. Someone please
Kamala Harris told you if you elect that man, you would be at war within 6 months. And now look. And you were worried about her laugh. That's what you were worried about.
And once again, Kamala Harris was right about everything. The former vice president warned the American people that Donald Trump would send the military after all of us. And we have seen it clear as day. He sent the National Guard to California. Now the National Guard is here in Washington, D.C., along with other federal agencies, walking around with rifles in hand as though they are in the streets of Baghdad. Next up on the list is Chicago. And Donald Trump is going a step further and creating a special task force within the National Guard that will do the work of what your day-to-day police officer should be doing. All under the disguise of controlling riots and reining in crime. Crime that is at an all-time low across the United States. And the interesting thing about all of this, he's only going after blue states, but completely overlooking the fact that many red states deal with crime also. Again, you just couldn't vote for the black woman, right?
Iran. And so what we're looking at is, again, a threat that might be taken seriously. And I would dare to say that that threat was issued without serious consultation with our allies, with our military leaders, with our diplomatic leaders. What are our alternatives? Let's also be clear, if this president is thinking about putting us in a position where we're in a war with Iran, the consequences will be absolutely unacceptable and tragic in terms of the young men and women who are American. He will target and punish those who disagree with him or refuse to bend to his will. He calls these Americans the enemy within and says that he would use the American military to go after American citizens. Journalists whose stories he doesn't like. Nonpartisan election officials who refuse to cheat by finding a few extra votes for him. Judges who insist on following the law instead of following him. It is for reasons like these that General Mark Milley, the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Donald Trump's top general, has called Trump, and I quote, fascist to the core.
He's a stone cold.
Donald Trump intends to use the United States military against American citizens who simply disagree with him. People he calls, quote, the enemy from within. America, this is not a candidate for president who is thinking about how to make your life better. This is someone who is unstable, obsessed with revenge, consumed with grievance, and out for unchecked. This president is thinking about putting us in a position where we're in a war with Iran. The consequences will be absolutely unacceptable and tragic in terms of the young men and women who are American soldiers.
Kamala Harris was right.
No.
Welcome back. Besides Kamala Harris being an opposition leader in America with who was vying with Trump, no, Kamala has been one of the strongest critics of Donald Trump, and we know that. We always see on the media what she said about Trump. She has repeatedly questioned his leadership and what he do as a leader, or to his people, to his country, and everything. So one of the biggest claim is that Trump undermined democracy so much, right? Trump undermined democracy and the Democratic Party in America and everything. This argument centered around the year of 2020 when they were vying for presidency again. That time Trump was the one against Trump was the one behind the attack at the Capitol. The event shocked not only America, but the entire world saw it. But everybody was like, why will Trump do that? He's only in America. Besides him being a leader, but he's on opposition side, why would he storm the Capitol? Right? So it raised serious concern about the political stability in America. So Harris urges the Trump that the world helps fuel the situation. And also, his claim that the election was stolen from, whenever somebody is powerful or have the authority in a country, he can just rig the election. So Kamala claimed that Trump stole the election. That's why, and Kamala has been trying her best to warn the Americans about Trump. So Kamala has been always right about Trump, right? So whenever they went to investigate and everything to find out the evidence, they find nothing against Trump. They find nothing that was on Trump. So court across political parties upheld the election outcome. So Trump won. Trump had to be the American president. But now what Trump is costing to do in America is what Kamala was warning them about Trump. Because Kamala really tried to warn American about Trump. Trump will do anything to remain on the seat. He will do anything to be seen, to be heard, to be respected by the world. So when we sit back and watch how much Kamala was trying her best to put things in white people's mind, because nobody wants to believe in a black person. Besides Kamala herself, as a president, nobody wanted to believe in a black person. Nobody would ever give her ear to a black person. No matter what, how much you try to convince them, no one would ever be convinced that a black person would be right. Because there have been one thing: a black person must never be more seen than you. So that's what is in their mind. So they will never listen to a black person in America, black people in America. So what they did, they assumed, they went ahead, they voted for Trump, giving them the power, giving them the authority to rule America. But now guess what? Today, America is really collapsing from the inside. Today, American politics is not stable as we thought. That's why Trump was doing his best, at least to be in line with Mamdani. At least maybe people will feel like Trump is now joining hands with the Republicans, right? So America is really collapsing, but it's collapsing because of their own choices, because of their own mistakes, because of what they were doing in the name of choosing somebody's skin color over your own self-interest. Nobody thought that this day will come. But now it's here, and nobody is going to escape the fate of Trump's regime. People have lost life. People have lost families. People have lost job, business, and everything. Today, people are now struggling to survive. They are barely survive, no matter how much you work, no matter how sacrifice you give to the government of America. You still won't be able to succeed in any way. So America is really at the edge, at the breaking point, So America is now collapsing, and we always seen it at the most powerful country in the world. So if it's collapsing, then we are like they were lying to us that America is the most powerful country in the world because of one man, Trump, obsessed with the power, greedy with power. He wants everything for himself, to be seen, to be heard, to be respected, to be given respect by everybody. Trump can't stop calling out people names. not only the news anchors on the left camera, even his own fellow men. Trump has always been has just been like a threat to the US people, but they never listen to anybody because they feel like a black person can never say a word that is useful in any way. Tell me in the comments, what have you been seeing people assuming about black people, warning them about Trump? Kamala warned them about Trump, but they still will never stand to accept that Trump is not the best person for them. God bless you and peace be with you. I'm out till next episode. I love you.